Hello everyone, you're watching Anna from Astralladytarot. Today, as promised, I am doing a video about how I made maps of my tarot decks. That may need a little bit more explanation. Back in the day, I have my oldest tarot book right here. Back in the day, as an exercise to get to know my deck even better, I started to look at the cards and see how the imagery connected. Now, this was a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. It was the yellow box. Since then, I have moved on to the Centennial deck, and that is my favorite because it looks so old and the colors are muted and it's gorgeous. I'm sure the people who have it know its quality. I still use the Rider-Waite-Smith deck to this day. If you were to get a reading from me, there's a really big chance that I use that deck. I also sometimes use a Marseille, but honestly, I do really appreciate the strength of the Rider-Waite-Smith system that allows the querent to also look at the situation and see my words translated, get to see the shadow side of the card, get to see the light side of the card, and really get to see that story. So yesterday I posted a video about how to connect cards, how I connect cards in drawing. Sometimes you get to make, for instance, 3 cards. 3 cards is always, you cannot go wrong with 3 cards, right? It's like 1 card would be a sentence and 3 cards would be a paragraph or something like that. For short readings, 3 cards are great. Anyway, you would make a whole new situation of these 3 cards. It's not within the border anymore. You really get to connect them. And these are just random cards, as you have seen. I have made some beautiful, beautiful art yesterday. Kidding, of course. These aren't even drawings, they are sketches. This was my first card, my first sketch in that video. Can you guess, if you haven't seen the video, of course, can you guess which cards are in here? These are, well, I haven't drawn all the cups, so you cannot even guess. This was the 7 of Cups, this was the 2 of Wands, and this was the 7 of Pentacles. And they actually came out like that. The 7 of Cups was here, 2 of Wands was in the middle, and the 7 of Pentacles was there. So that's just very linear, you could say. If I were to draw the connection between these cards and they are laying like this, the ocean would be here. This is where all the green is from the garden, and then maybe the garden expands into this Garden of Eden type place. But then the magic actually happens when you start. This was my second beautiful, amazing drawing. When you start to do the reading, out of that very short sample reading came out that the querent would need more action. So this wand, out of the 2 of Wands, the highest elevated wand, is the one that the querent would need to follow. The cards came up like this, and so you can see that they have been jumbled up here. Some elements have been removed or placed somewhere else. Some elements, that's also a new aspect of this method or of this fun thing that you can do, the drawing of the reading. This second wand that is bolted to the wall actually looks more like a sword, which was, funnily enough, the missing suit. Here you can see the 7 of Cups that in the reading was right next to the 2 of Wands, but now really went to the lower plane. And then this became like the cloud that you can see here in this vision type thing. Yeah, apparently the 7 Pentacles didn't really make it into the drawing, although I believe these little dots that mean it's a path towards bigger opportunities or whatever your goals are at the moment, these could actually be those stepping stones. These little dots could be actually discs or coins or pentacles or stepping stones, as I said. You can really let your imagination run wild, and isn't that a cool thing about tarot? All of these things reminded me very much of that map making that I had done in an early stage of my tarot study. What I thought I would do today, redraw the map that I had made, and it's again a sketch. It's not at all for the purpose of being pretty or clear to anyone else but yourself. So that was my disclaimer. Oh, this is amazing. I actually did use the whole deck. And I thought in the video I posted yesterday, I thought that I hadn't used the entire deck, but I certainly did. That is why this deck, or Rider-Waite Smith based deck, is especially good for this exercise. You can really see where these snapshots of situations would take place. We've all seen this deck. I don't know why I keep showing you images of this deck, but it's still so special, captivating, isn't it? I really do still love this deck very much and use it a lot, as you know. Okay, let's start. Let's see, what did I do? I started off by just writing. I wrote down everywhere. I'm translating here, by the way, so bear with me because I wrote it down in Dutch. On many of the cards, I see a village. From up close, from far away, all of these landscapes that kind of look alike. I had made sections. There are cards that are in the village, inside of the village, other cards that I feel are right next to the village. Maybe this one. Other cards that are really far away from the village, but the village is still seen in the background. Like, for instance, I'm thinking Four of Cups. Then there are cards that are on a green plane, and they keep moving away from the village. Then there are cards that depict a scene that is alongside a mountain, away from the land. And then there's also a barren ground, which I wrote down until the unconscious. I don't know, I guess I did see different realms, which would of course make sense, right? Honestly, this is just going back in time for me. It's fun for me. It's probably more fun for me than for you, but I'm going back in time here, and I don't remember any of this. So this is interesting. At first I had made some sections, and then I had drawn the map, the actual map. Yeah, and then the step after that is that I'd put them in a new order. I'm actually wondering if there are people around who have geeked out over this deck as much as I have. Just let me know. And we're back. What I just did is made 6 piles of cards. And I will explain to you what I did in my mind at the time. I had made the little map, made these 6 different little areas, basically. So in here, this is the first stack of cards. It's in the village, in the garden, in the church, and right outside of the village. So around the edges of the village. Yeah. Here it's the second pile. This would be in the castle right next to the village, and then there's also a garden next to the castle. Here is number 3, the green area around the village and around the castle. 4 would be the green area where there's also this agriculture. It goes towards the water. Here we have the 5th pile, which is going towards the mountains. And the 6th one, which I had to put here just to have it in frame, it's actually going downwards towards the dry land, another land. So there's a transition here. This is the core right around it, and we keep moving further away from the safety. And here you can actually already see with the first card, it's really starting to get more and more adventurous. Tarot Jenga, isn't that nice? Okay, what I had thought of. Here we have, right in the middle is the village. Let's do that. A little village. Through the village, I see there's, okay, so first of all, here I made a river, and it goes through the village as well. It goes all the way there, and through here, and here, and here. This is a pond. Here, apparently, this is also a river. I had a reason for all of that. This is how big this land is. Like that. And this is the ocean, the water, the sea. Over here are some mountains, another pond, a cave, a path, very high mountains in the background. We have our castle, the garden of the castle. This is green. Here there is a church also, or a place of worship. More green. More green. I made some agriculture here apparently, so quite close to the village. Pond, this one of course goes out into the sea. They all go out into the sea. Those are where the rivers and the pond. Here's another pond. A big chunk of empty land, and then another land starting here which has a desert kind of landscape. That brings us to a very different landscape. And here also there are more mountains and another cave. Don't ask me why yet. I think I'll have an explanation for all of those. These mountains are so high up that there's snow. Then here we have the tower. Here, alongside the path, are the two towers from the moon card. Here's another beautiful piece of art that I've made. I hope you were able to follow, because now I'm going to have to switch to another angle in order to actually place the cards where I had put them. So let's do that. Please excuse all the hairs. I have a dog. Let's take our sketch as an example right here in the middle. I had written down, as I had explained earlier, these different sections that keep moving further away from the center. So we start off with the sweetest card in the tarot, the Six of Cups. And I am taking this one away right here for reference, putting that right there in the center. That's actually nice, no? To think of the Six of Cups as the heart of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I've always seen this as the sweetest card in the deck. I see this as an older brother with his younger sister. He's taking care of her, giving her a gift. That brother-sister relationship, or sibling relationship. That is very small on a GoPro camera, but anyway. This is what I have. So then we're still in the village. So yes, you can definitely see that on this card. This definitely looks like a house in a village. The magician I also put in the village. Whether he is outside or in his own home, he is, part of the people. Nine of Cups, someone in his own home. Nine of Swords as well, definitely indoors. Then we move on to the garden. So here we have the Ten of Pentacles, the Seven, the Empress. This is all in a very early stage of learning the tarot, and I started with the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I really studied in different ways. I mean, before I discovered the whole numerology and all that stuff, I was really just mostly looking at the card and trying to make out every single little thing. And to this day, I'm discovering new things in these cards. But this way, you can really tell the Empress, yeah, she's in a garden. I was really using the visual aspect of this deck. You can really tell. Then I had the Three of Cups. Yeah, they're in a garden, growing crops. And then also, I put the Hanged Man in the garden. There's also a little church. Let's actually move all of this a little bit more that way. Indoors and outdoors. Then we move on to the church. This is the outside of the church. The Hierophant is obviously inside. Yeah. With the stained glass. The next step is to go a little bit outside of the walls of the village. And here we go. It's interesting to me that, I didn't know that back then, the Druidcraft Tarot deck shows the Seven of Wands as someone who is defending his place, and he's standing on a castle wall. So that really does make sense, doesn't it? Could really easily be he's defending the castle wall. Five of Wands 2. You can tell the green is coming, and then I put the Six of Wands because he's actually traveling outside. So there our journey begins. I actually feel now that this is definitely a castle or part of a castle because there's the crest here, but I'm going with what I did back in the day. We are moving along to the castle, and then there's also the castle wall and the castle garden. The castle I put apparently over here. The castle that you can see in the distance. So we're really moving towards there. Oh wow, I can't believe this. Look at that. The other day I did a video about the Five of Cups. And we're going to see the Five of Cups pretty late in the stage, I think. But look at that. That bridge looks an awful lot like the bridge in the Five of Cups. Anyway, castle was way over there. We're seeing the castle in the distance. Here we're seeing someone looking over the land. Two of Wands. I put the King of Coins with the castle here in the garden surrounding the castle. Of course, our beautiful garden lady goes in there as well. And here, this is the garden wall. In the distance, though, we see mountains, which is probably why I had placed the castle here with the view over the mountains. It all starts to make sense again. Third pile of cards is the green area surrounding the castle and the village. So this green area. So actually, castle is being moved a little bit further away. Okay, moved you a little bit closer. Yeah, I think that's better. The green area around the village and the castle. The chariot, which is cool because in the background you can see a certain type of castle, certainly. But then also there's green. And then also there is a river there. I can't believe how thorough I was on some of these cards. It makes sense, right? This is a river, and this is a river. So it could be either this river or that river. We're placing the chariot somewhere. Here, obviously, I always see as a busy city, but this deck really doesn't have busy city vibes to me. It's definitely still a village, maybe a busy village from time to time, but this in the background to me was the village. Maybe actually standing on the castle wall. That's possible. Here we go, the green area, very clear. Yeah, look at the background. It's important to look at the background. It doesn't mean that you have to do this crazy thing that I did. But, I mean, I'm having fun. Here, the tree, meaning, you know, the green area is also full of trees. And he's definitely a little bit away from the village because you can see it in the distance. Yeah, we see a little house in the distance, but they're in the green place. Same thing, even further. And look, the Four of Cups. There he is. I really do love this card, must say. This tree and everything is far away. But I guess I did put it here, so I'm leaving it there. Here we have another river. So maybe actually we're starting with the chariot No, we're starting with the chariot here, I have a feeling, because it's closer to the castle, and then we're moving further and further away. So I think we're going like that. Let me adjust them a little bit. Kind of like that. Here we have the second river. Chariot, river number 1. 5 of Cups, river number 2. Ace of Wands in the background now, but following a river. Wow. Yeah, actually, we are following a river. We are. Look. See that? Why are you here, though? Could this little part be a river? Anyway, this is where we're ending. Could also very easily be something like that. You know, that comes back towards the castle or something. Because this also kind of looks like the castle is on top of mountains, and we know the mountains are over there, so I don't know. Fourth pile, here we go. Green area, agriculture. Can we still see? I just keep changing the angle, but it doesn't matter. There's 78 cards to go through, so the Page of Coins. Yes, we can definitely see that here. The Sun. Oh, yeah. I remember now. Oh, that's crazy. I remember now that I thought that this was land, agricultural land, but actually it's the garden wall, isn't it? Some green, definitely green. Ah, we are, I think, at the first pond. Yes, because we are going towards the sea. King of Swords, apparently. Supposed to be here. On the edge of the water. This is actually already a little bit further, right? Further away. Also on the edge. Definitely makes sense. The star is like the Ace of Cups near the pond. Temperance as well. There are mountains in the background. And here I had put some mountains. That's possible. Here the sea again. And obviously the King of Cups. Fits into that category. I wish I had taken a picture or something, because now I can't remember how I actually put them. And I remember that this was just so much fun for me to do. And now I'm just kind of guessing. I know that this is what I drew, but I didn't actually put down every card where it was at the time in my head. So it's kind of like like this now. I'm not sure. Fifth pile, almost done. We are now moving towards the mountains. Pretty sure I meant these mountains and these mountains. Okay, so the mountains are here. They should be right over here. Let's see if we can understand why I put them there. Definitely mountain, definitely still green. We are moving away from the green fields. Strength, yes. We are seeing a river. I guess we're moving along here. Oh yes, definitely. Because here we are with the Eight of Cups. We've just reached the first few mountains. Look at that. The landscape is moving up. Mountains. I had a feeling that in the Eight of Cups there's a cave nearby. Which is why there's a cave here. Moving along. Ace of Swords. Definitely starting to become more gray. Not as green anymore and not as happy anymore. Something definitely has happened here, which is, yeah, I don't know, maybe an old, that was in one of my notes actually. I'm telling you, if you didn't think I was crazy already, I was really just using my imagination with this deck, but still it's helpful because it's not just a map in 2D, it's actually a map in 3D, which is a kind of path working, isn't it? Because it kind of tells you where you are, and it's a visualization exercise. I think this I made into that pond. We are right here on the map. And then, look at that. Moving along, because here are the towers in the distance, following that river. And here we go. We have reached the towers and the path. And this is the pond, I guess. In one of the towers, I had put the High Priestess. In the other tower, I had put Justice. We've reached the end of these cliffs. And the Hermit is part of this group, even though I distinctly remember this is where he was. The highest mountains of the map. I'm putting them all over here. Hermit being the highest. Last pile. Let's see, the last pile is pile number 6. We're starting off with the tower, which we can see right here, right on the edge, surrounded by these high, deadly mountains, deadly cliffs that we could already see in the background of the death card, for instance. And here we are looking down. Yeah, definitely a higher plane. I think here we're starting to travel more away again from there. We are going from the highest hermits, looking at the tower, and then with this pile, we're actually coming down again towards that other land. This I had imagined as very barren sand. So you'll see a difference in landscape. Traveling, yes, through the agriculture, and here we go. There's a different scenery, and here we are in the other land with a different climate. And now this is the big switch to the unconscious. Apparently these were the cards that I figured were part of that. I think these are supposed to go down, because this is, funnily enough, but does depict that, the underworld, so it's supposed to be below, maybe even upside down. Let's do that. And then the world, the clouds, still in the clouds, still in the clouds, and this is other land that we've reached, traveling from there to here. Wow. This is such a mess. But maybe, somehow, actually, pretty cool still. One last look at the map, the sketch, and I'm taking you with me. One look at the map. We started here. Village indoors, gardens, church, village outside, just outside the walls, or on top of on the walls. We moved to the castle. Castle walls, castle garden walls, moving a little bit further away from everything, and then coming back. Here the hermit, he's not supposed to be connected, but he's in his own. Let's actually move him all the way there. We come across the tower. This is where the mountains are high and gold, and they have this snow that never leaves, and here we have the simple, deadly cliffs. Here we are at the edge of the cliffs with the Death and the Moon card, and then apparently I'd put Lady Justice and the Priestess in each of these towers, but isn't that a cool idea though? Yes, definitely grayer. Here's the cave, traveling towards there, the more mountainy landscape, but here again it gets green because we get closer to the village and the greenland. Yeah, the pond, and then moving towards the sea, moving to another shore. And then finally leaving the country, but still being part of the world of this deck. And then actually moving into the subconscious, which apparently ended with the devil, which today I thought was funny to put upside down. Okay guys, I truly hope this was, if not interesting, at least fun. But trust me, any deck you do this with, I think obviously the scenic pips are preferred. Any deck you do this with, you will simply spend some valuable time with your cards, and you will see details that otherwise you would have maybe missed. Now, I mentioned that I also did this with my Triomphe de la Luna deck, and in that map I only used the majors and the courts. So that's also possible. If you have a pip deck or a Marseille deck, you could do this by simply taking out the pips and using the rest of the deck. That also was really helpful and just nice to look at, because it really does emphasize that it's an entire world. We know the tarot is complete, but in this sense, actually using all 78 cards, it really does show the world that this deck is depicting. Okay everyone, I'll see you in the next video.